Over the last week, I've been playing TopSpin 2K25. This series has been dormant for almost 13 years, and it's finally making its Grand Slam return. Of course, this series used to be developed by 2K Chat, but now is being developed by Hangar 13 of 2K Sports, of course. One thing that you can always count on to get from these games is the gameplay and the presentation. If you look at other 2K games, they definitely have this. If you look at WWE 2K gameplay, presentation, and probably some people might not say, but NBA 2K, it's that gameplay, it's that presentation. 2K really knows how to nail that. And TopSpin is no different. I have to say that, look, you clicked on this video because you wanted my opinion, of course. TopSpin 2K25 is one of the best sports games I've played in a while. One of the biggest aspects of TopSpin 2K25 is the gameplay, and I'm absolutely addicted to it at the moment. I absolutely love it. It's challenging and fun, and it's rewarding. It just gives you this big hit of dopamine when you just slice a ball past an opponent and you get that 15 love or whatever, or you finally get that match point you've been working so hard for after just grueling rallies. It's so exhilarating, and it's just so fun. It's so addicting. Now, this gameplay has been built on the TopSpin 4 gameplay, so a lot of people that are coming back are going to feel very familiar with this. Now, if you're a newcomer, you really need to hear this part. When you first start the game, you're going to want to go into the TopSpin Academy that basically gives you the lowdown on a lot of the core mechanics of the game. Now, one thing that the game just does not emphasize that it really should, the game needs to emphasize that it's not about when you hit the ball, but it's about when the button is released. And when you're listening to John McEnroe talk about, you know, what the core mechanics of the game are, he does talk about this, but he skips over it pretty quick. He mentions it a few times, but he doesn't emphasize it. While you're doing the practices, you're just focusing on hitting the ball whenever it comes to you, but you actually need to release the button before it comes to you. Now, when players finally realize this, that's when the game becomes really fun, because when I didn't realize this and I thought I just had to hit it right when it got to my tennis player, I was struggling. I had inconsistent hits. It was very frustrating for me. I didn't know how I was going to actually win matches. I had to bump down the difficulty. But once I found that, hey, I need to do it beforehand, I need to release the button before it gets to my player, then I was able to finally get those perfect hits, those good hits, and I was able to finally start winning matches. Now, what I did was I actually took the time meter off, because I feel like when you're playing with the time meter on, A, it's visually not pleasing. B, I feel like you're playing the meter more than the actual game, if that makes sense. So once you take the meter off, you can actually just watch the ball and time your hits perfectly. I think it's better for me to watch the ball than actually just watch the meter constantly, and I didn't like how I was just watching the meter. I want to watch the ball and watch the in-court action unfold before me. But once I got that down, I have to say that this gameplay is so fun, so addicting, so smooth, so challenging. There's so many ways you can describe it. I love all the types of different shots. You can kind of have your own type of play style that you want. It's just really good. Playing with different types of tennis players, you can feel the difference between each and every one of them. As I said in the beginning, this is one of the best sports games I've played in a minute, and I really honestly mean it. Another thing that I really like about TopSpin 2K25, I feel like the presentation is really good. Now, I'm going to hold my hands up and say, look, if you buy this game and you play this game, there's going to be some hair clipping issues. There is some issues here and there. I feel like games like WWE 2K24 or NBA 2K24, they definitely do a little bit better on the presentation side. But when you look at venues like or tournaments like the US Open, how visually it looks exactly the same to what you see on a broadcast. It looks exactly the same, how the courts are, everything. The clay courts look exactly the same. All the major tournament courts, the ones that I've seen in person, of course, or on TV, of course, look exactly the same in the game, and I love it. Another thing that TopSpin 2K25 does really well is the sound. The sound design is really good, and the sound choices are really good. Of course, you have tennis players grunting back and forth. You have the screaming fault and things like that. And then I remember I was actually at a court. It was a clay court in Houston, and you can actually hear a helicopter fly over the court. And I just thought, wow, this is an amazing immersion piece right here. This is a great way to kind of just make the court in the world that I'm in right now believable. I know it sounds weird because it's a sports game, but it was just like, wow, I actually hear a helicopter right now. Like, this would happen on a normal broadcast if I was watching this on TV or I was there in person. All right, let's jump over to the modes. So now, how I feel about the modes in TopSpin 2K25 is I feel like, hey, this is a newly revitalized series. Maybe the developers are kind of playing it safe. They're just kind of putting out the most cliche type modes that they can think of, something easy to handle, something to get the fans back into the series. So we have a few modes. It's probably like 3 or 4 main modes here. So of course you have like My Player, where you create your player. You have My Career, where you go through a career, which is my favorite. You have 2K Tour, which you're playing as an actual pro, like a Serena Williams or Roger Federer. And then you have World Tour, where you actually take your My Player and you put them into a tournament. And I think this is like the ultimate test for your My Player, of course. Now, 2K Tour, played a little bit of it. It's just your easy, pro versus pro. You earn points, you earn rewards, whatever. World Tour is kind of the same thing, except you're playing as your My Player, and I think it's fun only because you're playing as your My Player. Now, My Player, customizing your pro, all that stuff, I actually think the customization part of it should be a lot better and a little bit more deeper, especially given the publisher. I think it's weird that they don't have a little bit more variety in terms of like hairstyles and a lot of other assets that go into creating a player, especially when you look at games like WWE 2K, NBA 2K. It's like these games have really good customization features and this game just doesn't. And I thought it was weird because they copy a lot of other things that other 2K games have. Like 2K games have little trends that they do, and usually they fall in line. Every other 2K game falls in line. 2K sports game falls in line. Well, this game just doesn't when it comes to customizing your pro. My Career is probably more of your meat and potato mode, where I would say the majority of players are going to spend their time in. Now, My Career is, I think, the bare minimum, but it's still fun. You join one of the smaller tournaments they're considered like a qualifier, then you play through that, and then you jump and then you keep going and you rank up the world ranking system, and you end up into one of the Grand Slam tournaments like the US Open. Now, of course, there's like mitigating factors that can stop that progression. One of the big ones in My Career is fatigue and injury. So you have this percentage fatigue thing that as you travel around the world and you get into these tournaments and you play in these tournaments, your fatigue percentage will drop down. And if it drops below, I think 25%, or even it might be higher than that, you actually could pick up either a minor injury or a major injury that can actually put you out for a month or even longer. So that actually makes you drop down the world ranking. That's kind of the gist of My Career. They also have like objective based matches that you can indulge in, which will help you get attribute points. You can train, things like that. It's kind of standard when it comes to a career mode, but like I said, this is this series coming back to life here, and I think Hangar 13 just really played it safe when it comes to modes, and I think that's fine, honestly. Overall, I absolutely love TopSpin 2K25. I love the gameplay. I love the presentation. I love the fact that this game still has loads of potential, and if it's a yearly game from 2K Sports, I think in the long run this game is going to be something that a lot of people love and get into, especially the people that have been waiting around 13 years to jump back into this series. Of course, there is some issues like in terms of the game modes. I wish there was more variety. I wish they had more, but of course Hangar 13 has just jumped into this series. They gave us kind of the bare minimum here, but now we are reminded once again that this is a great series. It has the gameplay to back it right now, and of course it has the licensing of the tournaments and the players to back it, so it's great. Make sure you guys check out my full review of TopSpin 2K25 on Sports Gamers Online. I gave it a score. I'll put the link in the video description, and make sure you guys follow me on Twitter at Cali from the Dojo. My name is Curtis Russell with the Seoul Dojo. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Seoul Dojo. We are well on our way to 1,000 subscribers. I mean, we love when you guys get into the comments and we talk about video games, because at the end of the day, we just love video games, right? So make sure you guys subscribe to the Seoul Dojo gaming channel, and I will check you guys later. All right, peace.